let's get started. How did Neil make $48 million, probably by now 50 or 52 million in his career as a real estate agent? The number one thing that he wrote down is the stronger you are, the better you'll be. Now, obviously, that seems like, well, duh, of course, the stronger I am, the better I'll be. But what we have to realize is success leaves clues. And any overly successful person I've met in this business or in any other business, their biggest competitive advantage is their strength over their competition. And, there's a lot of different layers to this one point. How strong are you prospecting in your lead follow-up? How strong are you in delivering a wow customer service experience? How strong are you in pricing? How strong are you in knowing your market? How strong are you in your communication and your scripting? The reality is that most agents are within a couple degrees of difference with one another. So if we can continue to up our game and strengthen our skills in the areas of our business that matter, it's Neil's belief that's one of the reasons that he was able to earn so much money in a relatively, 26 years isn't short, but shoot, I've been in the business for half that, and I've not made anywhere close to 48 million, right? So big thought is, after this, take inventory on yourself and ask yourself, where do I need to become stronger? And build an action plan on the things that you're going to focus on, and the different activities and skill sets that you need to become better at. Number 2, create accountability in all places of your life. Create accountability in all places of your life. See, accountability, oftentimes we say, again, accountability partner. That's nice. But there's a lot of forms of accountability. Like for myself, if I tell my wife I'm going to do something, she's going to make sure that I get it done. There's financial accountability, right? Statistics show that most people, I think it's like 95% of people, live or do enough just to hit their means, which means we always will take on enough accountability and put out enough work to hit what we need to hit. So I'll share a story with you. This is probably right when I got started in the business. I was in Mike Ferry coaching for about a year at this point, and I wasn't really doing much. I was lying to my coach, lying to myself, and I just really wasn't getting the success that I should have been getting. And one day my coach said to me, why are you doing this? Like, why do you want to make the money? Why are you, in the business? And for me, the answer was simple back then. I was, 19, maybe 20 years old. And I said, well, it's simple, coach. Like, I'm doing this because I want to get an AMG Mercedes. Like, that's what I want. And he said, okay, well, if you want real accountability, go to the dealership today and get the car. So I listened to him and I went to the dealership. The car was much higher price tag than I could get approved for at the time. But I did end up across the street at the Lexus dealership, and I got myself a nice new Lexus. My payments at the time, I forget, I think they were around $600, $650, which was a really big payment for me. Biggest payment I ever had other than rent, which transparently at the time was half me and half my parents helping because I was still in college. So it was a big undertaking, and I never missed a payment. Right? I raised my means, or in other words, I put more accountability in, and it made me go to work. It made me do things. It made me stop lying to myself and lying to my coach and paying attention to the things that matter. And even right now, my lease on my car is done, and I'm in this weird zone. Like, part of me, I'll say the responsible father and family man, says, okay, well, maybe I'll downgrade and save some money. The other part of me says, what the hell are you thinking, Sam? Like, you need to upgrade. You need a bigger payment. You need, right now more than ever, you need something that's going to make you work harder than everybody else. So there's no one size fits all here, but ask yourself, like, what can you make yourself accountable to that's actually going to make you go to work? Is it planning a crazy vacation for you and your family? Is it saving up for an investment property? Like, but really putting your feet to the fire, burning the ships, as they say, so that you have real accountability that forces you to go to work and do the things that you might be avoiding. Number 3, huge point. What I put in my head and the people I hang out with is the reason that I made $48 million. That's what Neil said. What I put in my head and the people I hang out with is the reason I made $48 million. And I'll tell you for myself, I know that the success that I've had, and obviously I want to achieve a lot more, the biggest factor is the books I've read, the mindset I've worked on, the rooms I've put myself in, and the coaches I've hired. Many of you know that we're in some really high-level masterminds, and they're really expensive, and they meet several times a year, and it's a big commitment financially, being away from the family, not just paying for the membership, but hotels and travel and flights. Oliver and I spend a good almost 3 months of the year in events in high-end masterminds. And when we first joined this really high-level mastermind, it became apparent to me that success starts and ends with the environment that you put yourself in, right? Like in high school, if you hung out with football players, you probably played football. If you hung out with smokers, you probably smoked. If you hung out with, scholastic kids, you were probably really good at school. Your environment has a big, big effect on your output and your perception of possibility. When I'm in this room, I remember my first meeting. I think it was my first meeting at War Room. I'm sitting next to, at the time, I think he was 18 or 19 years old, kid from Russia that was netting $1 million a month on his online business. And he's on one side of me, and the other side of me was this older gentleman. I'm going to guess he was in his 50s, 60s. Not that that's old, older than me. I'm getting close to 50. And he had just sold his business for 100+ million. And being in an environment like that and talking to people like this, it shifts the way you look at the opportunity of possibility. It changes the way you count. Before being in these rooms, I used to count in hundreds and in thousands and in hundreds and thousands and then millions. And now, like, I'm just thinking bigger. And when I feel stuck or I feel scared, when I go to those rooms, they get me back on track. They inspire me. They motivate me. They put that fire in me. So I'm not saying you have to join a crazy high-level mastermind, but I am saying pay attention who you give your time to. Pay attention to the people in your world. Are they bringing you up or bringing you down? And at the same time, make sure that you're consistently working on your mindset, because your mindset is the one thing that will actually trick you, brainwash you into doing the shit that you normally don't want to do, doing the things that you avoid doing. It all starts with your environment and your mindset. I love that point. Number 4, focus on profitability. That's a huge point in our business. When I'm coaching an agent or in the business or in other businesses, oftentimes they talk in terms of units. I want to do 48 deals. Okay, well, what does 48 deals earn you gross? And what's the marketing going to look like? And what's this going to look like? And next thing you know, they're looking at a $400,000 gross, and maybe it's $100,000 net. I've met agents that make close to $1 million a year in gross commission, but are netting less than $100,000. So we always have to look at all these opportunities or shiny objects in our business, these tools, these wizards, these leads, this, that, and really do the math and focus on profitability on a monthly basis. Like, look at your numbers and know where you really are. And at the same time, have good advisors that help you keep more of your money, right? Again, thinking about getting a new car, I'm on the phone with my tax accountant, like, hey, what's the best way to structure this? Should I do this? Should I do that? Like, it's one thing to make it, but it's also a lot harder to keep it. right? So you want to make sure that you're always focusing on profitability, and you're counting bottom dollar, not top dollar, because that's the only thing that counts. I haven't seen any comments come through or likes. I don't know if it's the Zoom thing. It actually looks like I'm live as Oliver. I'm just realizing that as well. I'm not Oliver, so we'll have to figure out how to fix that on StreamYard. But if you're watching this, can you do me a solid and just like comment yes that you see these or you hear me or something? Want to make sure I'm not talking to dead air. All right, let's keep going. Number 5. The little things are everything. My early morning schedule starts the night before. So he says that little things are everything for him, and his early morning schedule starts the night before. For him, he said that he sets the clock at the same time every day, and he doesn't hit the snooze button. He has his shoes, his workout shoes, right by his bed. He rolls out of bed, puts on his workout shoes, and hits the gym. He eats the same breakfast every single day. He shows up to work at the same time every single day, because those habits are what keeps him in line with his production and his actions. Jesse Itzler, who spoke at Closing Table, one of the best presentations I've ever seen. If you don't know Jesse, I'm pretty sure he's a billionaire. He started Marquis Jet and Zika Water and a bunch of other businesses. His wife, Sarah Blakely, started Spanx. And he said something that really stuck with me. He said, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So for Neil, the fact that, he wakes up at the same time, he eats the same breakfast, he shows up at the same time at work, those little things are what help him stay on track. So ask yourself, what little things can you be accountable to that will make it easier to be accountable to the bigger things? Oftentimes I found for myself that if I'm in a slump or just not winning to the degree that I feel like I should be, oftentimes I after looking in the rear view and doing some internal inventory, I often find it's two things. One, it's I'm missing some little thing that I was doing prior. So it might be supplements, it might be working out, which I've fallen off the track for a while now. And so oftentimes I found that it was a little thing that I was missing that I used to do, and it would keep my mind and my energy in the right place. The second thing was my mindset. I feel that we all at times find ourselves in a place where like I'm winning, things are going well, and then you stop doing the things that got you there, like reading books, listening to podcasts, going to events. When we first started Big Block, for a good year and a half, we didn't go to a single event. We just put our head down and worked. And yeah, we were doing all right. But it hit me one day. I'm like, man, we should be growing faster. And we haven't been to a seminar. We haven't put ourselves in the right room with the right people. And that really helped. So look at the little things that can help you do better at the big things, and make sure that you're consistently working on your mindset. I haven't seen a single comment come through. Hopefully you guys are seeing this. Maybe I haven't learned what I need to learn about StreamYard yet, but either way, I'm going to keep going. All right. Number 6, versatility in general, but versatility of learning how to work with the different personality styles. I'll tell you, for me, myself, as a salesperson, this is my secret weapon. I am so effectively lethal at versatility in general. Like, I will be who and what I need to be to move the needle that I'm trying to move ethically. But at the same time, I've studied and learned to understand the different personality styles. And I talk about this all the time. There's only 4 personality styles, and all 4 of them like to be communicated with differently, and they digest things differently. And they, one personality style. So as an expressive, if I'm being expressive and outgoing and using grand sweeping statements, and I'm working with an analytical, the analytical is going to think that I'm crazy, because the analytical is slow, lower in pace, loves facts and figures, where me as an expressive, I don't like facts and figures. I mean, at the right time, that's important. But when I want to be sold, I want grand sweeping statements. When I was looking at the car yesterday, the guy picked up on that right away, and he said, this is you because this car is this, and it's that. And he really got me emotionally invested. And if he could pick up that I was an analytical, I bet you he'd be talking to me about safety ratings and whatever it may be. So make sure that you are being versatile in general. A good way of understanding if you're versatile or not is when someone gives you feedback or asks you to try something new, you default to saying something like, no, that's not me, I don't do that, or that's not how I do things. Well, that's a clear sign that you might be lacking versatility. Growing up in our lives, we've attached all these labels to ourselves from our parents, maybe from religion, maybe from school, our professors, all these different things. And we've attached all these labels on ourselves. And then we hold on to them like they're our saving grace, like they're our lifesaver, when in reality, these labels we've put on ourselves are what's keeping us from being versatile and allowing ourselves to think outside of the box and try different things and learn how to swing the bat differently. Versatility is the key to progress. So we want to make sure that we're always checking our versatility, and we're also making sure that we're learning the 4 personality styles. If you go back in the group, I've done a ton of training on that, so that we can continue to be versatile with the people that we're talking about and communicate with them the way that they want to be communicated with. Number 7, balance is a myth. To be really great at something, you can't be great at everything. I don't know if I totally agree with the second part. To be really great at something, you can't be great at everything. Clearly, you can't be great at everything, but you can be a great family person. You can be a great husband and wife and parent. You can be great at work and great at what you do. And it's true that balance is a myth, but what's not a myth is sacrifice. I've learned as business grew and we traveled more and I just was away from the house more, I started to get a lot of anxiety and just get really sad about missing my kids and my family and, the snuggles and all these things. And it would really get to me. And when someone talked to me about the idea of sacrifice, it really lifted a lot of that pressure. What I mean by that is this: when I'm working my face off or I'm traveling, sometimes, Oliver and I are on the road for like 2-3 weeks at a time. That's painful. Like, you miss everything. You miss normalcy, you miss your bed, you miss your family. But at those times when I'm working hard, I'm sacrificing at that moment being a good family person. But when I'm home and, you ask like Corey, whoever tries to reach me after 5 or 6 o'clock, like, my phone is generally not around me. I oftentimes put it in airplane mode. And at that time, I'm sacrificing being a good business person to play, Barbie with my daughter, or play Nintendo with my son, or go out in the garage and do some painting with them, or spend quality time at dinner with my wife. So, balance is a myth, but sacrifice is real. So consider getting comfortable with the sacrifices you need to make in order to reach the goals that you'd like to reach. I think 2 more points and then we'll break. Again, hopefully you guys are seeing this. Closing skills. He says closing skills are everything. You have to understand that closing is a natural ending to a good presentation. When you put on a good presentation, buyer, seller, you do it the right way. You're being versatile in your personality style. You know how to communicate. You're listening. You're asking good questions. Closing is just the natural ending to a good presentation. He goes on to say that being a good closer is more about attitude than anything else. It's the confidence and the enthusiasm. So ask yourself, check yourself when you're in the presentation. Are you portraying confidence? Are you portraying enthusiasm? The closing is all about the confidence and the enthusiasm. It's about them knowing that you're the person to hire. And oftentimes they feel that more than they hear that. I want to say that again. Oftentimes your clients feel that you're the right person more than they hear that you're the right person. Now, you have to say the right words, you have to use the right tonality, you have to understand personality styles. All of this is important. But remember, there's the guy at the car dealership calling right now. See, lead follow-up. So make sure that you're always focusing on your energy and in your enthusiasm. He goes on to say, the only no that counts is the last one before you quit. All the yeses that you're looking for, the appointments you're looking for, all of that stuff is surrounded by a bunch of no's. You have to go through a ton of no's to get to that one yes. And that's the reality. So we have to get comfortable with the no's. We have to embrace the no's. We have to know that the no's are actually what makes you money. The yes is not what made you money. The yes is a materialization of going through all the no's and getting the agreement or getting the contract or the commission check. The no's are where you get paid. And the only no that counts is the last no you take before you quit. And he said, be real with the fact that when you hear the word no and you decide to stop or quit, that's very expensive. Think about that. When you hear a no and you decide to quit, that one word is so expensive. You know, in San Diego, average commission check, let's say around 10 grand, you let that no stop you, a single word costs you 10K. For him, he doesn't let the word no stop him. Clearly, he keeps going, and he's been able to earn close to $50 million in his career. And then the last thing he said about closing skills is the word no is the invitation to get paid. And I'll tell you for myself, I feel the same way. When I'm in a meeting selling something, if it's recruiting or a new business venture or whatever it may be, when they start to cross their arms or give me the no's, that's when I'm on. That's when I turn on and I'm like, okay, like now we can get to the progress. I have to get the no's so I can get to the objection and find out how to help them find their motivation to say yes. The no is your invitation to get paid as long as you keep asking questions and you keep moving forward. Last thing, and then we'll break, is tracking numbers. He says, agents are numbers challenged. Don't worry if they don't make sense. They will make sense eventually. Numbers don't lie as long as you tell the truth. So are you tracking your numbers? Do you know how many contacts it takes to make an appointment? Do you know how many appointments it takes to get a closing? To get a listing? How many listings to get a closing? When you know your numbers and you track your numbers, you can see where you're trending and you can see what you need to fix, if you're ahead, if you're behind. And oftentimes your numbers will give you a lot of insight as to what you're missing, doing right, doing wrong. For example, we track our numbers on our ads, right? A lot of people just take an ad live and let it run. We track our numbers. How much is a click costing us? How much is an opt-in costing us? How much is an agent costing us? And when we see that a campaign has good numbers because we've tracked it and we're paying attention to the numbers, that's when we pour the gasoline on top of that fire, right? When it works, turn it up. So without tracking your numbers, you really don't know where you're going. You're hoping, you're praying, and sometimes you could be really let down. If there's anything I can do or we can do to support, please let us know. Appreciate you all. Keep up the good work and make it a great day.